Ohioans to Stop Executions was founded in 1988 by a collaborative process that involved individuals from the Catholic Conference, the ACLU, as well as some attorneys who worked for the Public Defender's Office. In those early days, OTSE primarily focused on witnessing and standing vigil during executions. Sometimes folks were gathered at the governor's office, outside the governor's mansion rather, and other times they were at Lucasville.
I started to work at Lucasville in 1977, and one of the first things I remember, death row was there. I was involved in taking the first inmate from death row at Lucasville in 1994 to the death house. I've personally walked 3 inmates out of prison who were doing life sentences who were later to be found not guilty, walking them out the front door.
One of the most significant issues about the death penalty in Ohio is that, sadly, it has convicted and sentenced to death innocent people. We've had 12 people who faced the death penalty freed from prison after decades of incarceration for crimes that they had nothing to do with.
I'm the 119th death row exoneree in the United States, and I did 20 years on Ohio's death row.
I have the dubious distinction of being the longest serving, having served the longest time for being an innocent person in prison, 39 years.
We were tried, convicted, and sentenced to death in 1975. As he said, we were both 17 years old. This is an atrocity that happened to us. It's happened thousands upon thousands of times. My life will never be the same, as will Ricky's or my brother.
I was on death row for 22 years. I went in when I was 26. I got out when I was 50. I lost everything, everything. Be able to get a job, a decent job, go to school, have a family. I'm the last of my name. When I die, the D'Ambrosio name dies. And they took that from me.
We got 158 death row exonerees as we speak in the United States. And that's 158 people that's been wrongfully convicted and sentenced to die for something they didn't do.
When these are things that happen to real people who breathe, who live and die.
For every 10 people executed in the United States, 1 has been set free. Not set free in terms of just spending the rest of their life in another jail. Absolutely walk out the door innocent. Did not commit the crime. 1 for 10. That's a government failure rate that's pretty extreme. If every 11th day you went to turn on your water and it didn't work, if your water, your city water system had that level of failure rate, people would be demanding change.
We live in the greatest country in the world with the most freedoms of anybody. We have the best criminal justice system in the world, bar none. But it too can make mistakes.
You know, we got a thing in the United States called life without parole. We need to start using that more. Because if you make a mistake with life without parole, you could go get this man out of his cell and release him. But if you make a mistake with the death penalty, you cannot go get this man out the grave.
Life without parole means that once you're sentenced, you have no option to be released unless the judge in your case would allow you to be released.
The death penalty does nothing but make more victims.
To be anti-death penalty is not to be anti-victim or anti-justice. It's just saying when we do the death penalty, we actually create a whole new set of victims. We extend trauma, it exacerbates wounds, and we can do better than killing to show that killing is wrong.
Depending on what county you're arrested in and what your race or your socioeconomic status is, will determine whether or not you're charged, sentenced, and confined.
So this is a time that we really need Ohioans to stand up and say, we want to be a part of shaping an Ohio without the death penalty.
The death penalty has to be 100% perfect 100% of the time, and there's nobody on this earth that's 100% perfect 100% of the time.
We're the only state that got execution dates all the way up to the year 2021.
It's no longer a question of if Ohio will end the death penalty. It's really a matter of when. And that's one of the great things about doing this work right now, is that there's really history in the making. There's a real sense that when we reach that day that Ohio no longer has the death penalty, we'll be standing arm in arm with victims of violent crime, we'll be standing with the wrongfully convicted, we'll be standing with the faith communities and all of the criminal justice reform advocates to say in one strong voice, violence is not the answer to solving some of our most pressing criminal justice issues.